How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Hybrid Hype podcast with David Scott. I'm your co host, Nathan, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about gym pricing. Everything from your membership costs to your apparel costs to your vending costs. Anything that involves money and running your business is what we'll be talking about today. David, why don't you go ahead and start it off?
All right, hey guys, David Scott here, owner of Hybrid Strength and Fitness. So one of the biggest questions that I seem to always get about the gym business from other gym owners or from just guys that are like, hey, I want to start a gym or I'm looking to start a gym, it's always about pricing. Like, how are you going to price yourself, especially in the world of commercial gyms that are $10 a month? And then you've got the CrossFit gyms that are $100+ a month. How do you find that sweet spot and how to price your gym? So that's what we're going to talk about today, and the importance of that. And I'll go through some lessons that I've learned over the last 10 years about pricing, some of the bad things that have happened, some of the good things that have happened. So that's what we're looking to get into today.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start off with topic number one, talking about membership pricing, which is probably the biggest point of any gym. Is what's your gym going to cost just for that person to join?
Right. So a few kind of thoughts on membership pricing when it comes to what should you set your price at. What I always tell people to do, not to do, is what's everybody else doing. Because if you've built a gym or going to build a gym and you found your own niche that is different than what everybody else is doing, it's hard to compare your pricing for your gym versus the gym down the street that might be more fitness center related, as opposed to like us, that's more of a hardcore old school bodybuilding style gym. Coming up with a price that is competitive but isn't necessarily the same is going to be ideal. Now, several different ways you can look at this. You can look at this as, my first year, I want to make X amount of money, and to get that, I need X amount of members at this price, and that's a good way to look at it as someone starting out. And then also location. What's your overhead going to look like? Because you got to be able to price your product obviously well enough that you're covering rent, or your mortgage payment if you bought the building, or your staff that you have, if you have hired any staff, how much are you paying them per hour? Are you offering benefits? Those things come into play. And then also having money left over for renovations and the things that you're not expecting, because there's always something every month that seems like you're going to get nickeled and dimed on, or an unexpected expense is going to happen. So you want to be able to have enough money obviously coming in to cover all those things. So the one thing that I've always looked at is a tiered model of pricing. You can do flat rate pricings, but I think it's most popular, and you see a lot of gyms that do more of a tiered pricing. And what I mean by that is, you're going to have, like, for a premium amount, say, we'll just use easy numbers, $100 a month. You're going to get X amount of access, which is usually 24/7 access. You're going to get unlimited classes or whatever. If they offer classes, you're going to get, recovery, if we've got saunas and all this other stuff. And then you got like a middle tier, which is what you're hoping to everyone sees the value in and is going to be your biggest seller. And that's going to just mostly be your access or maybe a few little perks here. And then you might have discounted ones like we do for individuals who are healthcare workers, military, teachers, students, stuff like that. I prefer the tiered just because it gives people pricing options instead of one flat rate where it might seem too much for everyone. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like my initial thing I tell everyone is, like, look at tiered pricing. The second biggest thing I always say about pricing is know your value. So you as the owner should believe in your product the most, so that way when you are pricing that product, it's a fair, competitive price, but you're not underselling your gym. Because you're going to find those people out there that are just looking for deals. They're always going to bargain hunt. They're going to have really no input, no long-term commitment to your gym. The moment somebody's got a cheaper price, they're going to bounce and go to that gym. And that's just unfortunate that there's people out there like that just don't see the value. But it is what it is, and so you have to kind of brush that off and look at it as those aren't necessarily your people. You appreciate that they came to your gym and they used your gym and maybe help spread the word about your gym, but they don't share in the same vision that you have for it, and so they don't understand the value of it. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people that just because someone moves in down the street and offers memberships that are $10 or $20 less per month, that doesn't mean that you cut your rates to compete with them. Because the moment you start cutting your rates, you're done for. Always look at providing more value for the price. So like one big thing and philosophy I've had for the last 10, almost 11 years is I want you to come into this gym and say, like right now you're getting a single membership for $56 a month. To you, it's $56, but I want you to feel like it's $100 a month is what you could easily pay for this, because that's the value that you're getting. So always show more value than what you're charging.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned, like that first starting year when we're talking about when you're opening your gym, you have to understand that like showing that value is really important, because right now you're not worth anything in the eyes of the community. You're a brand new face, you're a brand new business, and what's important is, again, we're not going to be able to compete with those prices right off the bat with these places that, even if they're mom and pop, like us, we've been around for 11 years now. It's to the point where like we don't really have to worry about battling with local companies, so to say. But if you're brand new, it's really important that you establish a name and an identity quickly, so you can show these people that are going to give your brand new gym a chance that you are providing good value, even though you're just starting out. It can be really hard in that first year to find that uniqueness and to find that character and figure out what defines your gym, especially when you don't have the capital to just go blow on a whole bunch of equipment and graffiti and unique things right off the bat. But kind of like we talked about before, of the integrity of your business and being trustworthy in the last episode, having that right off the bat is really important for establishing a good start for your business.
Yeah, if you're authentic with your members and you are giving full transparency on things, which I think a lot of gym owners, at least in the commercial side, don't do, then you're going to gain their trust a lot faster. Now, here's a story. So, like when we first started, if you guys don't know, like I bought this gym from a previous owner. The name was Troy Strength. It was, over those 7 years that I was a member of that gym, it was a bodybuilding gym, it was a high-end gym, it was a powerlifting gym, it was a Christian gym, it was bouncing all over the place. Couldn't find like the little niche that it was from the previous owner, and he had pricing all over the place. And so when I came in as hybrid and rebranded, the first thing I did was everyone's paying $30 a month. And some people were getting mad because, looking at some of those old contracts, some people were supposed to be paying $35 a month. A lot of people were paying $25 a month, so it was only a $5 difference. But there were people that were paying $10 a month. And the problem with that is that they were never bumped up after the first year of their 2-year contract to go to 35 like they were supposed to. So for them, they got mad, and a lot of them left. But I reiterated to everybody that just trust me, because you're going to see that by me raising the rates a few dollars is going to allow us to have that much needed income, because money just doesn't grow anywhere. And it'll allow us to then keep reinvesting into the gym month after month, year after year, to make it better for the members. And over the last 10 years, and a lot of people that have been members of our gym, for several years or since the beginning, know that when I say that, oh, David means that now, better things are to come. And then over the years, obviously we've had to raise rates because obviously our standard, single membership is $56 a month right now, as of this recording in, August of 2025. And so in 10 years, I've only raised rates, what, $26?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's $2 a year, basically, $2.60 a year.
And going from when we started at
Yeah,
to now, that's
from
kind of
7,000
crazy.
square feet with 20 pieces of gym equipment that I literally had dispersed just to make the place look full to now over 200 pieces of gym equipment and 27,000 square feet. So, unfortunately, as times change and my costs get more for things, I have to increase pricing to help offset that a little bit. No one likes to pay more, but as long as you're providing the value and you explain to them and are fully transparent and authentic, usually the members are following you, no problem.
Yeah.
So
Especially like in like today's day and age with like how crazy inflation's gotten recently. Like the people that do get frustrated, I understand because everyone's costs have gone up, but the fact that we haven't taken advantage of the fact that inflation is so crazy right now to bump up our prices like
Right.
artificially, like legitimately we could probably be charging 80 to 100 a month and get away with it.
Oh, yeah,
you're talking
easily.
27,000 square feet of amazing equipment, of turf, of functional fitness area, slight boxing area, wrestling area, strongman area, powerlifting area. Like we have everything here, and we're still charging less than way smaller places that can't offer enough like we are.
Exactly. Plus the saunas, I mean, I don't charge for the saunas. That's just included as part of your membership, so that's more of a value there. A lot of gyms charge. That's part of a VIP package. You got to pay sometimes $20 more, if not more than that, for their recovery area. And I know we just have the saunas right now. We don't have tanning and cold plunges and cryotherapy chambers and all the other stuff, but saunas are still a big investment for us, and a lot of money to put down to just give it away and not charge for it. So, again, showing more value for what you are charging and not being afraid to raise your rates, because there are going to be times when you have to make that decision as a business owner, because members want certain things and you want to provide for them. And it's better to raise rates a couple dollars, $3 to $5, no more than usually 10% is my recommendation. So that way you can bring in more cash flow to buy those things for the members to make things better for them than it is to say, well, okay, we'll keep rates lower, but now we got to bring in twice as many members and now it's crowded and everyone's getting mad because now the place is too packed. So there's a little bit of give and take there, Yeah. So.
And you don't want to overcharge either, but you also, like we said in the last episode, don't want to undercharge.
Right.
And you can't be too ambitious by starting off too high because that's going to scare away clients. But you also can't be so low, like you were saying, that $10 a month those people were paying when you bought it out, that wasn't even covering the bills. Like you have to find that sweet spot in that area. And again, it also depends on, like you were saying, where you're going to be set up at. Like we started off in not a very great area when we first bought or were renting out the old building. We had to survive there for a long time and try to make that location look better than it really was because it was kind of in a rough area.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to start out with, a 30,000 square foot location when you just start. That's in a really nice, corporate area.
Exactly.
Like you see a lot of these like TikTok gyms. Because
Exactly.
usually they have, lots of money behind them, lots of investors. And realistically, if you're, Joe Schmo who's just trying to start a business, you don't exactly have that capital right off the bat.
Right.
So being realistic in what area you want to start your business in, understanding the value that you're going to be able to provide for your customers, and understanding like how many people are around you. When we had our location, literally 2 exits up north, we had way less people available to us than these 2 exits down south now. Now we're hitting that Dayton crowd. Whereas before we had a lot of like rural country area, a lot of blue collar area. So we wouldn't have the opportunity to have over 1,000 members at that building, even if we had the space.
Right. And, just again, location and how much your overhead is. Obviously, our overhead here is significantly more than at the other place, but it's also a larger building and a lot more equipment and stuff. So you can provide more nice things for the members. Um, Another philosophy that I have is, like, got to do with day passes. So offering day passes, but I think a lot of gyms are scared to charge a certain amount for a day pass, thinking that it's going to be too expensive or no one's going to want to come because of that. And so you'll see a lot of the $5, day pass, maybe $10. Ours is $20. And there are gyms in the area that charge $25 or $30 for a day pass, who aren't as big as we are or don't have as much equipment as we do. And I think $20 is a sweet spot. It doesn't like scare anybody away, but it also shows quite a bit of value because, at $20 for you to come one time, and then I tell you, hey, if you decide to join within the next 3 days, we'll credit that $20 towards your first month's membership. Well, $56 now became, $36, or your $46 membership as a student or discounted membership becomes $26. So they see more value in that, and that's a bigger deal for them to say, okay, well, it's $20 for a day pass. I mean, but actual membership's just 2.5 times that. I mean, geez, like, I'll just buy I'll just buy a membership. So, and then let's get into a little bit about contracts and like month to months. So again, going with the tiered memberships. Usually if you're on contracts, your, month to month is a little higher price because you're not in a contract and come and go as you please. And then if you're in a 1 year or 2 year contract, those rates are going to be less. I prefer, and I've learned this over the years, that I wouldn't go past a 1 year contract. I know there's gyms in the area that go up to 3 year contracts. And 3 years is a long time. And I mean, if you have to give a 3 year commitment, and who knows, anything can happen in 3 years, really. I mean, anything can happen. And that's just to get your membership rate down low enough that you feel it's a value, then that probably isn't your gym for you. I would stick to a 1 year at the most, offer, at a significantly less amount. Obviously, you have a paid in full option as well, or a 6-month paid in full is a little bit different than paying month to month at a premium price. But you're paying for the flexibility of being able to come and go as you please. So yeah, you do pay a little bit more for that. Trying to think what else.
Fees are a big thing.
Yeah, fees.
Figuring out your
One
fees.
big thing I struggled with for many years was charging fees, setup fees, initiation fees, enhancement fees, cancellation fees, stuff like that. But I knew last year we needed to make some kind of change. Like something had to happen. And I did. I finally, after 10 years, decided to do an initiation fee, basically, enrollment fee. So it's $49. It's a way to get in extra cash for your business that helps you then fund further expansions, buy things like saunas, stuff like that. And yeah, you can take it for what it's worth. The fees, I mean, you don't really need it. I mean, I'll be fully transparent. You don't need that. It is actually meant for us to use to help continue building the gym. Usually your set memberships are going to cover your overheads, salaries, payroll, stuff like that, electricity, and then money like with fees and vending machines and supplement sales and stuff like that help drive buying equipment, saunas, recovery stuff,
But again,
things of that nature.
people see the value.
Yeah.
And again, so like the people that I've signed up that, might not have seen that we had a sign up fee, usually are coming from a contract place and stuff like that where they're getting nickel and dimed on everything.
Yes.
So they see that $49 and they're like, whoa, that's a really big sign-up fee.
Right.
But usually I'm like, well, one, we don't have any yearly enhancement fees or anything like that. We don't have any cancellation fees. We allow you to basically come and go whenever you need to. And the only time you would pay that here ever again is if you were to cancel and rejoin.
Right.
So for you to pay $49 up front, and that's all the only fee you have to pay other than your monthly dues, not only is that just a one-time thing, but then usually anytime I sign someone up, I'm like, that money goes specifically to our equipment. And then I'll show them like, all right, just this month alone, we bought this piece, we bought this piece, we bought this piece, we added this piece of graffiti, we added these fans in this place. Like showing where that money's going makes them realize, oh, it's not just like them stealing money from me, it's them reinvesting.
Right.
You know, and then they spend some time here and they talk to the members. And they're like, oh, yeah, Dave just got this new piece this week. You know, and they're talking to each other. And they realize from the people that have been here a while, this isn't like a sales pitch. This is something we're regularly doing. We're always reinvesting that money.
Yeah, and you have to, in this day and age, you have to constantly be doing something. You know, every month it should be something that you are doing. And if you're not doing something like as simple as buying a barbell for the gym, you know, because there's months there we didn't have a whole lot of cash, you know, starting out, and we're like, okay, we can afford 2 power bars this month. I mean, it's just something small like that can go a long way to members going, okay, yeah, they're taking our money and they're reinvesting and they're doing these things. But if I wanted a bigger piece, then, you know, I might hold off on buying something that month to save up for the bigger piece. But I think in this day and age, you have to keep showing the value, keep progressing, keep doing something. The moment you get stagnant and you're not changing out equipment, or you're not bringing better equipment in, or you're not showing improvements, members see that and then they're like, okay, well, where's our money going? You know, and then they start to question things.
Yeah.
So
if you're driving around a brand new BMW, you know, and not spending the money on what you need to be spending it on, the members aren't going to want to be loyal to you.
Right.
But yeah, when they see that value, especially like when we were starting at the old building, like social media wasn't really a big thing yet. But now social media is to the point where it's like the number one free tool you guys can use if you're starting your own gym or any kind of business, honestly. And that is a tool you can help to reinvest with. Like, not only like reposting members' content to make them feel seen, but anytime we get a new piece, usually you make a new video on it of what the piece is, how to use it, why you chose that. Usually anytime we get new graffiti, we post about it. Anytime we have like those improvements that we want people to notice, we make sure they notice it. Because like they might not be consciously looking for new pieces all the time because they're just on, you know, everybody's in their daily cycles. But when you're like, hey, you know, by the way, when you come to the gym next, we got this new piece. Why don't you try it out? You know, because they're seeing that on their feed every morning when they're waking up. So shit like that can help improve without necessarily spending money, especially when you're starting out, and letting people kind of in on like what your game plans are. You know, you don't always want to like, you know, show your whole hand of cards when you're a business owner. But if a member's like, hey, have you thought about, you know, buying such and such piece? You're like, oh, well, I've actually been doing research on that piece. And, you know, I also saw this one. What do you think about this? And, you know, understanding the community and what they want is also really important. So it might be better to take some time to get to know what your members need. That'll satisfy them even more in the long run.
Right. Let's talk a little bit about discounts. So, you know, we offer discounts to active and retired military, students under 24 years old, seniors 60 or above, first responders, healthcare workers, teachers. We offer 10 months or $10 less per month in membership, and it's a way to kind of give back, you know, for their services, you know, for doing. Probably one of the other big ones that we give away for free is if you're active military, home on leave for a week or two or a month or whatever, you get to train here for free while you're home on leave. So discounts can be a great asset to you starting out in your gym business, or just, you know, if you've been in it for a couple of years and you've never discounted anything, but just kind of be careful because you don't want it to be people are just going to wait to join when the discount hits. Like if they know every spring and fall you run a deep discount, well, I'll just wait till spring or fall to join, because again, you're going to get those people that are just going to price shop. They don't understand what you offer versus what a YMCA offers versus what a Planet Fitness offers. A gym's a gym's a gym, and that's all it is. It's all about price. So again, showing value, but when it comes to discounts, just be careful. Again, discount it a little bit, but don't discount it so much that you're giving it away or it's devaluing your brand. What's another topic we can talk about?
Have we talked about apparel at all?
No, we haven't talked about apparel. Let's get into apparel. So apparel's going to be another one of those areas in your gym business that is going to bring in extra money. We tend to do pretty well with our apparel. It's gone over the years. My philosophy has changed. Initially, when I first started doing apparel, it was about just getting the brand out. And so my t-shirts were priced at $15, and my cost for the t-shirt was $14. And so I was making $1 for every sale. Now, by the time you pay sales tax, I'm not really even making $1 off that. So it was all about just get the shirts out, get the stuff out. I just want people to wear it around and just get the word out. Kind of good and bad, right? Because you're selling it cheap enough that people are willing to buy it, a lot of it, and then wear it. But it's also not helping you drive revenue that you desperately need, especially early on in the business, to build that capital and keep growing to reinvest. And so I now say, through a lot of trial and error, we use high quality shirts. My cost is down from what I used to pay, but the product is still very high quality.
So it's better than those first shirts,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
And our designs are much fresher. I mean, we have our standard shirts for $25, and occasionally we'll do our shirts like for $30. We have shirts online on our store at hybridstrength.store. You can see a lot of other designs that we've created, and some of those are higher priced.
But it's usually on premium material
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So
So
you kind of get that,
give that
variable.
value and that quality there, and that's why there's a higher price.
Yeah.
When people have come to me over the years and how come you don't use a Nike or a Under Armour T-shirt? That would be so cool if you use that. Okay, well, my cost for that shirt's $50, and then I still have to make the shirt. So then by the time I sell it to you and have enough markup to make a profit off of it that helps drive business, now it's a $75 or $80 shirt, and you're like, well, I ain't paying that. Well, yeah, because you started out with such a high costing item. So you have to, again, take those things into consideration. Apparel can be your best friend. It's a good way to market. It's a good way to add it as a, hey, join today or this month, you get a free t-shirt. We do a lot with our decals. We used to sell our decals, and I realized it was more important to me to just get the logo out, and it's a cost I just eat that I just give them away now. And now we got 2 different sizes that people can put on water bottles or their car or lunchbox or whatever, and people love them. So
It almost becomes like a badge of honor somewhat.
yeah,
People have gotten to the point now where they'll see hybrid stickers on cars in public and recognize where they come from, you know.
I mean, I've seen them an hour away on a car at a stoplight, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know. So so that's kind of apparel, and then you can get into all the weeds of, hats and, shorts and socks and hoodies and all this other stuff. And we've done quite a bit of all that stuff. I think at the end of the day, just come down to, if you use quality materials, which I highly recommend, make sure you're pricing it so that way you're covering your cost, but it's also a good price that you're pulling enough profit to help you, again, reinvest into the gym and move the needle forward.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to raise the rates on that or set it up higher.
Absolutely.
We can talk about supplements.
For sure. For sure.
Supplements are going to be another revenue stream for a young business owner or gym owner. We've never been big on selling our supplements, and what I mean by that is that I've found that over the last 10 years, and even before then, it's hard to find people that are loyal to just one brand. There's so many companies in the industry, supplement industry now, that and more come out every year, and then more go out of business. But there's like the big five or so, that you've got, and they've been around for decades, and everyone wants to try what's the latest, greatest, newest thing. And so trying to keep in stock the latest, greatest, newest thing is a challenge, because then if you buy too much, then you can't move it. So then eventually it's either going to expire, or you got to discount it and hope that you can at least get your money back. I stick with some brands that are still pretty popular. We don't move a whole lot of the way of protein. I find that protein is probably the pickiest thing that people will want to buy. And so like our protein, it's just usually one or two brands, nothing fancy. But then I'll overdo it on our pre-workouts and aminos, creatine, stuff like that, because those are easier to move. It seems like people are willing to try those more. And then you can do things like we've done in the past where, hey, we've brought in these, brands that might be real brand new that no one else has just yet, and we've given out free samples, so people can try it, and people, members enjoy that stuff. So probably the biggest thing I always say with supplements when it comes to pricing your supplements, yes, you can price them to what the stores are pricing. You're probably not going to move a whole lot. I price our stuff very aggressive, competitively, I should say. Does that make sense? Aggressive competitively?
Under retail.
Gives
them a reason to want to buy.
I basically look at Amazon. I mean, if you can buy it on Amazon where you get next day or free shipping, I will undercut Amazon by at least $1. Local supplement stores, I'll undercut them, because usually they have to, that's their whole, realm of revenue. Like they have to, if they got it for $20, they have to sell it for 50 or 60 to be able to pay their bills, and their livelihood. I don't have to, because it's just a revenue stream for me. So I have the advantage of being able to bring in those same items from the same national distributors and offer it for like $5 or $10 more. And I'd rather move quantity than overcharge for something
that won't move.
Won't move. And you're also paying for convenience, because you're here and it's there, instead of you having to drive to the store to get it. I might not have the variety that a store will have, but I'll have the necessities, and if you want it, it's there, and here's the price, and you're going to get a good deal on it.
And usually we'll find stuff that isn't mainstream. Usually a lot of the stuff that like we sell in our cabinet, supplement wise, and our vending stuff, which I don't know if we've gotten into that yet, but we usually find brands that aren't like mainstream. Now obviously we'll have like our raws, and we'll have animals somewhat mainstream. We've been partnered with them for a long time. But then we find the brands that aren't exactly like crazy popular, but it gives people a chance to like try them. Usually it's pre-workouts, because people want to try pre-workouts a lot. It seems to be the thing that people collect in their bag is pre-workouts.
Yep.
But even giving us a chance to try with new companies like Orion Supplements, started by 3 guys here in Dayton that are younger than me. Reached out to us. They've only got, I think, like 12,000 followers on Instagram or something like that. And this is their first year of business, and they're over $500,000 in revenue.
Yeah, crazy.
For 3 kids in their very early 20s. That are right here out of our hometown.
Yep.
So giving them a chance to be able to sell products here, and giving them a chance to like set up a booth and try to create a customer base locally is one of those great things of like, you won't see that at big chains like that, unless they're like real high up. So yeah, I just want to give them a quick shout real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like And again, it really depends on what your scale is. Like, you're not going to be able to drop $4,000 in supplements when it's your first year of business. You know, you might have to settle on one or two products to sell in your cabinet just for now, just to have, you know, some side income coming in, and just to have something on display that you can sell alongside your T-shirts or your hats, or having your stickers there, just to, you know, have a little storefront. But yeah, eventually you'll get to the point where you get into a cycle of, you know, what's going to sell to your customers, you know what your members are going to want to try, and it gets to the point where you're connected enough, or your employees are connected enough with your members to hear what just came out, to hear what's the hottest new thing that's trending on TikTok Shop or whatever, that you could then find, all right, here's the flavors we need to get, here's what people are talking about, let me order this now before the trend goes away, you know. And then the next 3 weeks there's another one, and you just kind of learn what people are going to want. You'll be clued in enough by your members at some point that it just becomes a cycle of always getting new stuff.
Yeah, and we've been lucky that the distributors that we've worked with over the years have kept us in the forefront of newer items coming out, to the point where it could be the pre-workouts we have, the powders, or even just energy drinks that are fresh and came out. Like when Bang came out, like we were the first ones to have Bang in our vending machine, and we had flavors that no one else could find anywhere, like at speedways, gas stations, you know, supplement stores. And that trend still goes on today, is that, you know, we get exclusive flavors and items in that even some of these supplement stores can't get in just yet. And it helps just kind of build that, you know, reputation, that quality of brand for us, that we're known to get that stuff in, you know.
Yeah, because people will share it on their story and stuff.
Right. And, you know, once that stuff, you get to the point where that stuff can be bought at Walmart, you know, it's time to move on to something else, you know, because you're not going to be able to compete with Walmart when you can buy 3 cans for $5, you know, of an energy drink. You know, it's just, we're not buying in the insane quantities that they are, that they can offer those kind of deals.
Now, usually that will pertain with like the trendy items, but there will be some items, like we sell like 4 flavors of Monster that we get just at Sam's Club or wherever. We just buy them in bulk, and like those will always sell. Those are like, you'll find your go-to stuff that you want to keep in your vending, like having a very specific brand of water bottles that you know people like. You know, stuff like Monsters, or I've seen other gyms, like have Bang. Or C4, stuff like that you know people are going to consistently buy. That's okay to have. But specifically, those trending items, like I think it was the Rise cotton candy when that came out. That was super popular. I think that was like right when we just moved into this building. That was like the new popular flavor. And then like as soon as we saw them at the gas station, no one was buying them here, because like you just don't have the capital or the connections to have prices that low. But yeah, having the reliable items, you know, are always going to sell, whether that's drinks, like energy drinks, protein shakes. I mean, like Lean Body, we stuck with for a long time. I mean, 6+ years easily. Cookies and Cream Lean Body was like our #1 seller for years and years and years. But then it got to the point where that became mainstream, and now the case of 12 of them went from like 20-something bucks to like 50. And now it's like, all right, well,
there's no profit margin in
there's no more profit. We're losing money on selling these.
No matter where you bought them from, even from a distributor, they're so expensive now that you just, unless I charge $7 or $8 for them, which I don't think anyone's going to pay that, then you can't turn a profit on it. So,
and it's on you to understand, like, pricing isn't the only thing.
Right.
You know, we've had other proteins after Lean Body that people just didn't buy because they weren't good.
Yeah.
So it is kind of on you as the owner to, like, maybe buy a case or 2 of something new, see how people buy it, try it yourself, see if you like it. Because realistically, if it's not going to sell in 1 or 2 cases, even if that profit margin is greater than some other choice, if that other choice sells better, you might be losing, 20 or 30 cents per unit, but it's going to sell more in bulk than just that 2 cases of the cheaper stuff you got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It all comes down to the very nitty gritty stuff.
Yeah.
What's our next topic though?
Really, it just, we're kind of getting toward the end of, some of the notes that I've taken, And it really comes down to, I'd say, probably the last thing I have to talk about is, again, just your cost versus the value. Um, because people aren't just buying the gym access, right? They're buying the atmosphere, they're buying the culture, they're buying, the accessibility, the accountability, the results, and so this is why you see people at like Planet Fitness, that pay $10 a month and don't go, because if you set your price too low, and they're going to look at it as there's no value. If you set your prices higher, it's a perceived psychological thing that, well, their prices are higher, it must be a better value, and I'm going to get better results. Kind of, again, what I've said before. You can go to Waffle House and buy a steak dinner there for $6 and get an overcooked little thin steak that's tough to chew. Or you can go to a nice sirloin house, steakhouse, spend $30 or $40 for a nice big plump juicy steak, that's going to probably be the best steaks you've ever had in your life. It's all on what you want to spend, and it's all on what you perceive as value. So
Absolutely.
that's really what it comes down to, is know your value. Don't be afraid to price yourself higher. There's a gym recently, and I'll kind of going off topic now, but there's a gym in Dayton that recently opened that I hear charges like $75 a month, which is a quarter the size that we are, and has literally the quarter of the amount of equipment we have. But they're not afraid to charge $75 a month for a membership, and some people are going to look at that and be like, man, like they're 4,000 square feet, hybrid's 27,000 square feet. They're charging $20 more a month than hybrid does, and they don't have anywhere near the quantity of equipment, the atmosphere, anything like that. Again, it could backfire on them, or it could, be a home run. It's all in how you sell it to the members that they feel that they're getting a value.
For sure. Alrighty then. Any other topics in this that you want to talk about or cover?
Not really. Just again, make sure that you're pricing your gym, and your prices to reflect your gym and your culture.
Absolutely.
That's really what it comes down to. So, and if you have any questions or you have anything that's worked better for you, leave us a comment. DM us, reach out to us. I'm not saying that my philosophy is the be all end all. It's just what's worked for us over the last 10 years. I'm fully transparent in what I've done that's been mistakes, and what I've done that's worked.
There's a risk reward factor with everything that comes with business.
And it's a difficult decision, especially when it comes to like maybe raising prices. It's tough. You don't want to have to do it, but you're still a business and you have to do it. I mean, unfortunately the grocery stores are raising prices because their prices go up. Everything goes up, I don't know why it's this understanding or something, misunderstanding in the gym industry that how dare you raise your gym prices, like nothing else, everything else in the world can go up in price. Cars can go up, gas goes up, food goes up, all that other stuff. But how dare you raise my gym prices, well, because my overhead goes up and I have to offset that somehow. And you guys want XYZ, and I have to be able to afford that. So the only way to do that is to raise prices.
Especially as a small business. Now, if Planet Fitness wants to raise their prices, that's different, because they don't necessarily need to. That can kind of just come down to corporations being greedy. Right. But yeah, the fact that like a mom and pop place has to be able to like raise their prices to stay afloat, that's a lot different. But again, showing that value, having that character, having that good community, all is what makes having that mom and pop place that's so great. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that basically does it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Two real quick things. One, shout out our sponsor, Move Better Massage Therapy, who have recently sponsored Hybrid. If you want to talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, so Chris Burnett, who is the owner of Move Better Massage Therapy in Dayton, Ohio, we've partnered with him. And what I mean by that, partner sponsorship, is that a lot of our members really love the sports massage therapy that him and his staff provide when it comes to just recovery, rehabilitation. He is phenomenal in what he does, and all of his associates, I should say, with him are all equally amazing. We're trying to get him here to come up to hybrid at least one day a week, but right now his business is based out of Dayton. Majority of our members go to him, and it just seemed like a good fit, when it comes to our philosophy of wanting hybrid to be a whole inclusive environment that, we know someone that is great for massage therapy, chiropractic, physical therapy, all that stuff. So, yeah, shout out to Chris and Move Better Massage Therapy.
Mm-hmm. Then I also wanted to give a quick shout out, Pile Driver Wrestling Academy, located here inside Hybrid. We are settled in now.
Yes.
I talked, at the beginning of the year when we had our break from the podcast about the school moving in, and I'm proud to say we are settled in. We have our second batch of students going through our training program right now, and our head trainer Ace Austin has just signed with AEW.
Isn't that cool?
At the time of recording, which is a very cool thing for us.
Yeah.
Not only just for the school, having an amazing group of trainers, but also just for the gym, having all these great connections, having connections in the wrestling world, in the bodybuilding world, in the powerlifting world. All these things are really becoming a melting pot here at Hybrid. And I think that creates a lot of unique opportunity for our members. So really, if you're interested in any kind of field that is, athletic, whether, you're a former high school or college athlete, and you're looking for some physical activity or career that you want to pursue now that you're out of school, just come to Hybrid. Find something that really fits with what you want to do. For many years, we have had a great community of people that work hard and compete, but I think now more than ever, we have more opportunities for our members.
Right.
Not only can we provide a great place for them to work out, but we can then lead them down a path that might change what they do the rest of their life. And I think that's a really cool thing to be able to provide for people. So shout out Pile Driver, shout out Ace Austin, shout out Move Better Massage Therapy. Without all these people, without all you members, we wouldn't be able to do fun stuff like this, like sitting on a couch and making a podcast, like this isn't something we ever thought we'd have the chance to do.
Yeah.
So even though we're not, on Joe Rogan's, popularity level, this is still a fun thing we get to do.
Right.
But thank you all so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you have any other topics you want us to talk about, any comments or questions about today's episode or our past episode, just go down to those comments and let us know. If you want to see us talk about specific topics we haven't talked about yet, interview people we haven't talked about or talked with yet, let us know. But yeah, we'll see you later.
Yeah.
See ya.
See you guys.